Have you ever walked into a room totally prepared, an expert, a lion, only to find that everyone else in that room became a gazelle, just ready to bolt? I mean, you had the data, you had the vision, you had the solution, but you could just feel this invisible wall go up. Well, today, we're going to explain the hidden biology behind that wall, and we're going to give you the tools to tear it down, not with force, but with finesse.
So let's just ask the question directly. Why do your best ideas die in that cold, unresponsive room? You know the one. You're polished, you're professional, you projected nothing but strength and confidence, and yet it feels like the more you try to impress people, the less you actually connect with them. Look, that feeling of social friction, it's not just in your head. It's a biological reality, and it is absolutely costing you your influence.
And the reason for it all lies in this fundamental paradox. On one side, you have what we've all been taught, status signaling. Broadcast your superiority, project power, be the smartest person in the room. But just look at the biological result of that. It triggers defense. To another person's ancient primal brain, it's basically a declaration of war. Now look at the other side, safety signaling. It's a totally different approach. It's a strategic choice to reduce threat, which in turn invites trust and builds powerful alliances.
Okay, so to master this, here's our roadmap. First, we're going to dissect the status signaling trap. Then, we'll decode the neuroscience of that cold room. After that, I'll give you the social threat protocol, a simple three-part system for influence. We'll unpack why it works by unlocking the social brain, and then finally, we'll map out your first steps to becoming strategically safe.
All right, let's get into it. We're going to start by dismantling the very foundation of how most of us are taught to influence people. We're diving headfirst into the status signaling trap to understand exactly why our instinct to project strength so often backfires, creating the very weakness and distance we're trying so hard to avoid.
So here is a fundamental truth that will absolutely change how you see every single human interaction from now on. Before the brain does anything else, anything at all, its number one job is to answer one question. Is this person a threat? This subconscious process is called neuroception. It's your nervous system constantly asking, without your permission, is this person friend or foe, safe or dangerous? It is the ancient software running in the background of every single conversation you have.
And this right here is the critical consequence. If your presence, your polished expert persona, triggers that ancient threat scanner, the amygdala, it literally hijacks the other person's brain. It slams the gate shut on their prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for logic, creativity, and trust. This means they become neurologically incapable of hearing your ideas, no matter how brilliant they are. You have to signal harmless before you can ever be seen as helpful. So, with that biological foundation now in place, let's go back to that cold room. We're now going to decode it. We're going to put a name and a science to that invisible wall of social friction that you've probably felt so many times before.
The clinical term for this is status vigilance. See, when you walk in with that rigid posture and that highly polished expert persona, you think you're signaling competence. But to their nervous system, you haven't signaled friend, so it just defaults to competitor or even worse, predator. And this is what triggers that state of neural guarding, that stiff, polite, but disconnected atmosphere where real collaboration is just impossible.
And just look at the staggering cost of this. This chart isn't just a graphic, it's a picture of a hijacked brain. When someone's mind is in threat mode, it's not a communication problem, it's a massive neural inefficiency. As you can see, up to 90% of their cognitive resources are being rerouted to monitoring you and protecting their own status. That leaves a measly 10% of their brain power to actually listen to what you're saying.
And this brings us right back to our central metaphor. You've successfully signaled that you are the lion. You're powerful, you're competent, a high-status individual. But you're left standing there wondering why everyone is keeping their distance, why the team is so hesitant to contribute. It's because your biological signals are declaring war, even as your words are trying to build an alliance. You're the leader of the pride, but the pride is hiding from you.
So how do we fix this? Well, the solution isn't a soft skill, it's a strategic, science-backed protocol. This is a three-part system, and it's designed to manually and biologically disarm any room you walk into, turning your very presence from a source of threat into a sanctuary for collaboration.
Our protocol has 3 core components, and each one is designed to send a powerful signal of safety to the other person's brain. We're going to begin with the vulnerable opening, which levels the playing field. Then we'll move to the eyebrow-flash warmth, a universal sign of trust. And finally, we'll cover the non-competitive mirror, a technique for building instant rapport. Let's break each of these down.
Okay, your first move is what we call the status leveler. This is the biological disarming. Within the first minute of an interaction, you just share a minor, humanizing mistake or struggle. Something like, wow, I almost spilled coffee all over myself on the way here, or I was wrestling with this data point all morning. See, this isn't weakness. It's a strategic signal that proves you are not a competitor for their status. It immediately reframes you as an ally.
Next up, we have to stop hiding behind a neutral, professional mask. The eyebrow flash is just a quick, subtle lift of the eyebrows right when you make eye contact. Across every single culture on Earth, this is a universal primate signal for I am friendly and I mean no harm. You're essentially speaking the mother tongue of the human nervous system, directly communicating safety to the most ancient parts of their brain.
And finally, the non-competitive mirror. This is all about subtly matching the energy, the vocal tone, and even the specific language of the person you're with. Now, this is not mimicry. It's about sending a powerful subconscious signal that says, I am like you, we are on the same team. It moves you from pitching at someone to syncing with them, and that creates a profound sense of shared identity.
Okay, so now let's unpack the neuroscience to build unshakable belief in why this protocol is so incredibly effective. Because understanding the mechanics of what's happening inside the brain is what transforms these from simple tips into a core part of your leadership toolkit.
What's happening on a chemical level is a precise cascade that you are initiating. First, your vulnerable opening manually deactivates their amygdala. The threat scanner literally goes offline. Next, their mirror neurons copy your signaled state of calm, which physically causes their stress hormone, cortisol, to drop. And this then opens the floodgates for serotonin and oxytocin, the neurochemicals of connection and trust. The result? A state of cognitive ease. You've opened the social.
So the crucial point is this. You are literally architecting a fundamental shift in their neurological state. You are single-handedly moving them out of defensive vigilance and into a state of social engagement. You're no longer fighting against resistance. Instead, you're building a neural bridge that makes cooperation the path of least resistance.
All this theory is fascinating, right? But it's totally useless without action. So let's wrap this up by grounding this entire framework in an immediate, practical mission you can execute today. This is how you move from just understanding a theory to actually mastering the skill.
All right, here's your first mission. In your very next high-stakes conversation, I want you to perform one status leveler. Just share one small humanizing mistake. Second, execute one eyebrow flash the moment you make eye contact. And third, practice linguistic syncing. Listen for a specific phrase they use and just gently weave it back into the conversation. Remember, this isn't about being weak. It's about being strategically safe.
And this slide really brings it all home. The goal isn't just to be impressive, it's to be trusted. The leader who is feared gets compliance, sure, but the leader who creates safety gets real commitment. So stop projecting power and start creating safety. Shift your identity from being perceived as a threat to becoming an invaluable resource. This is the ultimate advantage, because people will only truly follow you when they feel safe with you.
So we end on this final mantra. The path to real, true influence isn't about a stronger argument or a more polished presentation. It's about biology. It's about understanding that the expert who is feared is never as effective as the human who is trusted. Your mission is simple: disarm the brain to win the heart.